Hey, this is Notser, and today we're taking a look at the premium Tier 5 heavy cruiser for the British Navy, Exeter. We're on the map Trident, and the build is on the screen. And as you probably might imagine, this build is basically useless to this matchup. There's no aircraft carriers on either side, and I've invested not one, a module, but a second commander skill to fight off aircraft, which clearly there's just so many. Now, Exeter. What are the unique features of the Exeter? Clearly, she has heal, smoke, hydro. This is a light cruiser. This is a British light cruiser that has the ability to use 203 millimeters. Everything else about it is a light cruiser. It's got a light cruiser amount of armor. Its citadel is very easy to access. It has the heal, it has smoke, it has everything that you expect for the British light cruisers, except for those guns. Now, enemy Mayhem, of course, headed towards A point. I wanted to try and fire my guns inside. However, enemy Fubuki also was capturing the other base, B point. And since I'm British, I have that improved acceleration. I'm going to try and head off towards B, snipe Fubuki with the friendly, and that should open up B for a capture. Now, as the light cruiser, you probably know how this plays. It is very nimble, but it is incredibly punishable. And it's kind of glass cannon-y. It also has torpedoes, 8-kilometer range torpedoes, which have limited use, I have found. There's very few times that me as a British light cruiser with heavy cruiser guns wants to be within 8 kilometers of anything. And I'm trying to dive into the smoke just so we can confirm capture. That's the only, maybe certain situations I can get away with using them. But it's only one launcher per side, and it's only 3 torpedoes. So very similar to something like the Edinburgh, it has limited use. It's just enough torpedoes that you feel like maybe I could do something, but it's just so few torpedoes that you actually do much with them. It just ends up being, point blank, maybe I'll get a hit or two. It is nice that it is a single launch torpedo system because that's the British way, but it's not really gonna have a high hit rate. Just my impressions with a limited torpedo launch system. But team's able to capture B point. We also captured A point. The enemy Mayhem is the only DD that actually got out. Every other enemy DD's dead. So I am going to avoid dying. Of course. Colorados, man. Colorados are just a little bit better. And I'm a light cruiser. It's one of the vulnerabilities. I cannot select smoke versus radar. It's smoke versus a fighter aircraft. That's pretty much it. So of course you're always going to use smoke. I was being a little bold, I would say. Just a little bit. Of being out in the open and this visible. It's not a good plan. So, instead of staying out in the open and taking tons of damage, I am planning on smoking the corner of this island. A very typical British play. And I'm going to try and get some fires on targets. Now, we will be visible for half a second. Enemy, if he's skilled and was looking this way, could conceivably punish. Doesn't look like the Colorado is looking this way. Boy, he's right on the edge of this island. I just barely have enough. Now, you might notice that the shells are a little floaty. They are definitely a little floaty. It takes them a little bit to get to the target. So, in that sense, it's not as easy to use as maybe you would hope. But it's not unusable. It's just that the shell arc is a little slower than most 203 millimeters. Best ship to compare this to, the Fudotaka, with its 203s as well. That's a tier 5 with 203. It doesn't have a heal, but it also has a little bit more armor, and its torpedoes are a little bit easier to use. It's got more gun velocity, and it has more consistent accuracy, but it doesn't have a heal, and it doesn't have smoke. So it's really asking yourself, what is more important to you? In some situations, the Fubuki's going to be better. In other situations, Exeter is going to be better. I can't really say, which is a better way to go. But we're getting multiple fires on the Colorado. And because it's British, it has really good high explosive. That should go without saying, really. Any British ship that has high explosive equipped is going to do mega damage. We contribute to taking out the Colorado, and I'm going to go out to the west, because the east is basically ours. We have more than enough ships there, but in the western side of the map, it's basically equal. And unfortunately, Judge, one of my teammates, he gets burned down. He was so low, and he was trying for so long on that flank, so I'm headed out here, not in time, though. The enemy Mayhan captures the base. Okay. My concealment's pretty good, and I do have Concealment Expert, and oh, how juicy. It's really unfortunate for him. But look at the way the shells go. They just move a little bit slower than you're probably used to at these ranges. So if you pick up the Exeter or you're playing against it, keep that in mind. I have to lead it a little bit more than maybe I would normally, but one more good salvo should be enough. Now, he is a DD, so he probably dropped torps. I used hydroacoustic in response. It's a nice, good British hydroacoustic. Able to knock out the enemy Mayhan, which denies line of sight to the camping either Fiji or York behind that island. We're able to dodge the torpedoes with the help of the acceleration that's built into the Brits, and also hydroacoustic. So I'm just going to hold fire, drop off. Something is capturing B. I don't know what could be capturing either the York or the Fiji, right? It's one of the ships was camping behind an island. The other ship was capturing B. I went into the capture of A point, popped my smoke, and now I want to fire on the ships that are attempting to move to the southern side of the map. I don't know what the point of a play like this is, and unfortunately, I've seen a lot more of this with the CV rework. Just fleets of ships that want to sail deep inside enemy territory and ignore objectives. It's an interesting strategy. I know it won't work, but it's interesting nonetheless. A friendly spots the enemy that's responsible for capturing B. It's the Fiji. All right. Well, we just want to confirm this capture. There's no reason to be visible or to leave the smoke just yet. But as this was developing, I was going, ooh, this is a juicy target. Texas takes out the enemy New York. October Revolution. This is a very juicy AP target. And since this is 203s, you've got to use AP. I feel like, maybe I can get another salvo off on the October Revolution before I see the Fiji. And honestly, I'm a little afraid. Maybe the Fiji's going to, torp the smoke, and I won't have any feedback that he's on this flank at all. That could be a outcome. Get a little too close to the island. No more salvos left. It does look like this Fiji is attempting to move towards A. My team is going to recapture B and C point, and I'm just going to try and set up a full broadside AP salvo against this guy. We've got enough time to turn back, which is good. And, oh, it's going to be so juicy, isn't it? Oh, yes. It's so nice having the gun caliber. Tier 5, 203 is a monster. The Furutaka proved that. It's been buffed and tweaked. It's a very fun experience at Tier 5. Of course this would be fun. And it is. It's a great experience. But now we have two. We have the October and the York. York is out in the open. I do have AP. Unfortunately, it's not really good against the angle that the York is presenting. And I am worried about my friendly division mate. He is lower than the enemy battleship, and I would like us to just kill the battleship and keep the friendly alive. I've seen a lot of this in my play as of late, where I recognize a moment where I could be either selfish or I could be for the team. And when I choose to play for the team and actually fulfill that promise, it basically ends up being games like this, where they're just so incredibly one-sided. So I want to continue that. As we're moving into position, I'm considering, do I want to show myself to the Orc? Yes, I do, because he's so vulnerable. Maybe I could Citadel him and knock him out right here. He's near the maximum range of my guns, and you can see the arc almost straight down on his deck. Checking the torpedo range, checking the October Revolution, and he's responding. Someone was able to knock out his engine, which is awesome, so I'm going to give a little bit less lead. And I'm trying to get as close as I can to the island and predict the October's direction. It looks like the October's going north, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to slip by without pulling a Notser. I am so close! And you might notice one thing. I need to set October Revolution as my target. Look at that failed torpedo. Oh, yeah, that's the target. I just screwed it up. And oh, no. AP on the nose is not good, but we do get a torpedo. And I'm attempting to kill this guy. His guns can't keep up with this, by the way. They're facing the other way. AP on the broadside is enough. Oh, yes, it is. And the York, oh, the York is so low. Rotate the guns. Rotate them. Do we have time? AP. Ah. And just like that, my light cruiser wanting to be a heavy cruiser gets punished and dies. That is always and forever the one vulnerability that the Brits seem to have on their cruisers. Very easy to citadel, very light armor. But it's great to see a heavy cruiser for the Brits. This is honestly the first premium cruiser that's been available since the Belfast, so it's been a long time for people. I don't see any reason why they can't release this the way it is. It has strengths and it has weaknesses, clear weaknesses. I enjoy the gameplay. Leave in the comments what you think. And yes, we did. We absolutely helped carry. We were the bottom tier in this game. Hope you enjoyed this. Hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you next time.